everybody. Jason up New Year's Revolution. Another snowy day here in upstate New York. And I am home for the morning. I may be home a little bit tonight after, if it keeps snowing today. I think people will probably cancel with me and I'll be back home. But I don't get paid for that, so that's no good. We don't want that. Anyway, my morning homeness allows me to come down here and get this tournament going earlier than I had planned. We're going to whip through this second round, and then we're going to do Wrestling with the Past. And I'm going to catch you up from our last episode, which I think was maybe February 84. I'm going to jump you all the way to October 84, because that's where I am in my watching. So I will give you a big overview update, and then we'll do weekly recaps of 1984 and beyond in WWF. So let's get right at it. Next round matchup, second round matchup. The next matchup is Harley Race taking on Paul Orndorf. Now, Harley Race, on paper, Harley Race, in comparison to the other figures that I say are good figures, this you would think is not a good figure. Okay, it's got an awful play pose. And it's got a big giant sweater. And then on the other hand, we've got Paul Orndorf, who's a mighty tall figure, mighty ripped. I mean, like shredded muscle-wise. You know, another nipply figure. You know, he's got about a 30-pack, and then he's got side abs. And I mean, they just, I don't know, Paul Orndorf, like I can imagine Paul Orndorf, being in like the production meeting going, more abs, give me more abs. He doesn't talk like that, but that's I can only do Paul Orndorf when I met him, when I paid for his dinner and told him that I paid for that somebody paid for his dinner. He went, "Bahoo, bahoo." That's the only Orndorf I can do. I can't do more abs, bahoo. Anyway, Harley Race. Look, maybe you're screaming at the TV, right? Saying, Paul Orndorf, right? Early on, 87, 88, I made Paul Orndorf the Ultimate Warrior. And then Paul Orndorf was gone. It's an awkward figure. It's an awkward, tall, lanky, overly muscular figure. Believe it or not, Harley Race got a lot of action in my play. I'm calling an upset here. Harley Race defeats Paul Orndorf. It's just the way I feel. It's just the way I feel. Next up, we've got JYD, the Junkyard Dog, taking on the one-man gang. And we've talked about the JYD's multiple chains. This one here is the silver chain. I am still in need of the black chain. And I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to get it at all, because I think it is a very customizable item, right? You can just kind of color in the gray chain and make it the black chain. I don't think there's a big conspiracy out there where people are making millions of dollars off of coloring in the JYD chain. But if I really want a black chain, I can get another silver chain and just make it black, I think. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I could just spray paint it, but I'm not going to bother. Maybe. I don't know. JYD against one-man gang. Surprisingly, Gang moved on. I mean, well, he took on Bam Bam Bigelow in the first round, so it was like somebody's got to win. JYD was used an awful lot. An awful lot. He was a very early figure that I got. Got him in summer of 85, or I'm sorry, Christmas of 85. And so, he got a lot of early play. I had Dog when I had like 9 figures. So you got to play with him. And he was always a go-to figure. Like I've said in previous videos, if you want to have a match, just a random match, you grab Junkyard Dog, you grab Tito Santana, you grab Greg Valentine, you just have a match. One Man Gang is later in the series, later in the line. We've got the black undercoating. To me, Junkyard Dog is a landslide winner. Moving on in the tournament, JYD. Next up, we have Don Morocco / Mike Rotunda against Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Now, you've heard me talk about how much I love Morocco, the wrestler, how much I love the figure, how much action he got. But he didn't get action as Don Morocco. He didn't. He got action as Mike Rotunda. Okay? Hacksaw Duggan, when I got him later in the line, he got a lot of fun play. He was like Duggan and Race, right? They were like the next generation of play for me. They were like the next chapter of play, right? I'm a little older. I don't know if it's fading. I wouldn't even say it's fading. I'm a little older, and we've got new characters coming in, right? And they're on TV. So, Harley Race, Hacksaw Duggan are on TV. And he got a lot of action. But it's not about who is my favorite wrestler. It's about who's my favorite figure. So I can't say I have to eliminate this because I didn't use him as Don Morocco. Because this figure was prominent in childhood. It's one of my two proudest LJN creations. My Wild Desperados and my unnamed three-man faction. Don Morocco, Mike Rotunda, teaming with Corporal Kirshner and S.D. Jones / Brickhouse Brown as just the six-man faction from somewhere. With that being said, Don Morocco defeats Hacksaw Duggan and really says goodbye to a good figure. Hacksaw Duggan is a good figure. Bruno Martino. That's right, Martino. That's how you say it. Against Ted DiBiase. Now, again, you're screaming, it's obvious, right? You take Bruno. But just like I talked about Duggan and Race, Ted DiBiase got a lot of play in the next generation of play. And what I mean by that is, like I said, I'm older, right? I've matured in my toy playing, if that's possible. Right? The WWF is changing. Okay, these new guys are coming in. WWF is morphing into something that is not 84, 85 WWF. Right? It's 88, 89 WWF. Big difference. And DiBiase got a lot of play. Even though he's dressed in his outfit, he's got the money, he was a very large part of that era of play. Bruno, on the other hand, I got very creative with him too. I brought him back as a bad guy. Brought him out of retirement as a bad guy. Feuded with Hogan. Feuded with Savage. Had amazing matches with both those guys. Got a world title run. And then probably turned good again, I assume. And then got retired by Terry Funk again. Pile driver off the top of the cage. which is murder. But, it's LJN murder, so it's okay. And I used to use cassettes. I used to use music cassettes as steel chairs, and I used to use them as stretchers. So Bruno was stretchered out on a cassette. I think it was Bobby Brown. if I'm not mistaken. Because of the history, because of the fun, Bruno Sammartino, probably closer than we would have thought in my head. Bruno Sammartino, I wouldn't say narrowly defeats Ted DiBiase, but it's not a landslide. Bruno Sammartino is moving on. And the bonus matchup of round 2, round 2, part 2. I did this from a man D-Mod. It is next in the tournament. We're not moving anybody around. We want to keep the matchups as they are written. But D-Mod, who's going through some health problems, is strongly behind Randy Savage and feels he will win the tournament. And Randy Savage is taking on Jim Neidhart. I think we know who's going to win this matchup. But Jim Neidhart deserves a lot of respect. A lot. The Hart Foundation are absolutely my favorite LJN tag team. Absolutely. Even though the British Bulldogs got a ton of play, I think that the Hart Foundation together are some of the best looking LJN figures. Had Neidhart been matched with Orndorf, Race, Duggan, he would move on. He would absolutely move on. He's a great figure. I really love this figure. And just looking at him brings back a lot of memories. I got to clean these figures. It also reminds me I have to clean these figures and maybe touch them up a little. Like, he's got a little pink coming through on his boots. I could easily touch that up with some black paint. And they need a good cleaning. He's got some schnarfy on him. I got to clean him. Randy Savage. We said Hulk Hogan is a visually iconic figure. Randy Savage is a visually iconic figure. You could be walking down the street and see this silhouette, and you would say, "Oh, that's a Randy Savage LJN." Right? I would like a silhouette sticker for my car. You know, for the Dodge Ram. I would like a black silhouette. You know, one of those transfer thingies where you got to use your credit card and scrape it onto your car. One of those things. I would like a black silhouette of Hogan and of Savage, because they are the two most recognizable shapes from childhood. That's a good one. Hogan and Savage are the two most recognizable shapes from childhood. This is a shape. This is an iconic shape. Come on, it goes without saying. Ton of play. A beautiful figure. Jim Neidhart is defeated by Randy Savage, but Jim Neidhart is a fantastic figure. D-Mod, your Randy Savage, is moving on, and we are moving on. That is the conclusion of this part of round 2. Up next, this is where it's going to get good. Well, it is getting good. Terry Funk takes on Bret Hart. Ricky Steamboat takes on Billy Jack Haynes. S.D. Jones takes on Bob Orton. And in the final match of round 2, Ted Arcidi, still alive, Ted Arcidi takes on Kamala. So we are knocking these things down, ladies and gentlemen, and we will conclude round 2 in our next video, and I will give you the matchups for round 3. This is when it's going to get tough. It's going to get tough. Let's strap in. Here we go. All right, that is all. I'll see you later on tomorrow, possibly. Yeah, definitely tomorrow with the conclusion of round 2. Good night now.